all vehicles have common problems, right?
100%.
Name the year, make, and model, I'll tell you the common problem behind it. So we figure if every vehicle has a common problem, why not just buy it with the problem already existing? So buy it with the problem existing, bank on our ability to fix it better, quicker, more efficiently, cost savings than anyone else. And then now you got a car that's on the note, you don't have to worry about the car.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Independent Dealer Podcast. We are on location at the Auto Cave with Mr. Mitch.
Mitch, this is a boneyard.
This is it.
Man, this is cool.
That's where the money's made.
This is where you got money laying all over the place. We're going to talk about that today. Your guys' philosophy and process around keeping a boneyard.
Yeah, it's like a real assembly yard. Like you disassemble, then you reassemble.
That's right.
Is that the concept?
Yeah, for us, it's trying to keep it simple. So, at the Auto Cave, we try to hone in on just a few year makes and models. For us, it's the Hyundai Kia, the 2.0 and 2.4.
Yeah.
And, when you do that as a dealer, not only do your technicians get used to working on the same cars over and over and over, right? So it helps efficiency there. But then more importantly, when you need a door, when you need a clock spring, when you need a steering wheel assembly, when you need a module, when you need a motor, when you need a transmission, when you need a door, you have it.
Yeah. How many cars do you have in the parts inventory?
Parts inventory, about 100 junk cars.
100 junk cars. Now, it takes space to do this. So, like your place, you wouldn't be able to
I couldn't do it. This is beautiful. I mean, if you guys look at the view of this place, it is, we got 7 acres here.
Yeah, you're saying beautiful. I see a junkyard, but that could be beauty in some eyes. And in Mitch's eyes, in Caleb's eyes, it's beauty, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah.
I want to rewind and talk about the philosophy behind this. Okay, so you have to have, you mentioned your buy box. Like you got your target of cars that you as a dealership have decided are the best for your buy here, pay it, right?
That's correct.
And you're focusing on the Hyundais and the Kias. They sell great. Bang for buck is there. And
pretty dependable except for the engine.
That's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty good.
But you guys you found that niche where you figured out the engines.
Well, yeah, our philosophy or our motto is like all vehicles have common problems, right?
100%.
Name the year, make, and model, I'll tell you the common problem behind it. So we figure if every vehicle has a common problem, why not just buy it with the problem already existing?
Love that idea.
And then, instead of hoping you got one without the problem like I do.
That's it. So buy it with the problem existing, bank on our ability to fix it better, quicker, more efficiently, cost savings than anyone else. And then now you got a car that's on the note. You don't have to worry about the car.
Yeah, I mean, because you can buy a really nice 200,000 mile car, let's just say, or 80,000 mile car with a bad engine and put a new engine in it. And that it should, in theory, run for another 150,000 miles and run the note.
That's correct. In theory.
In theory.
Depending on the vehicle.
Okay.
Right.
How, if I was a dealer out there and I wanted to start doing this, how do I go about buying a car that already has that known issue? Because I've done this with a few models like Silverados or Tahoes. I'm not buying them unless they have bad transmissions, right? Because I know that I'm going to have to put one in it.
That's right.
And these like Nissan Maximas, if I can find one with a bad transmission, I'm going to buy it because I know I can put a transmission in it.
That's right.
How do you focus on that?
Yeah, I'd say reverse engineer it. So there's a market price on every single part, right? So find out how to be below market on that specific part. Like you said, the Chevy transmission. Most people are spending between $3,250 and $3,650 to rebuild that transmission, right? If you can find that transmission for $1,500, $1,800, and then, have your shop do it yourself, calls for probably 9 hours. At a tech, you're paying $25 an hour. Now you're in that same vehicle. Everyone else is paying $3,650 to rebuild the transmission. You're in at about $2,000. So now just off of what it is, you got a $1,650 spread, plus you bought it inoperable. So you probably have another $1,500 to $2,000 spread there. So now everyone else is in that car $14,000 when it hits the front lot. And you're in it probably 11, but you have all the major issues already fixed.
That's interesting that you can increase margin. I didn't even think about that.
It's a fix and flip.
Yeah.
They're building equity in the car, sweat equity.
Yeah.
So it takes a large shop operation too. I mean, talk to us about that. When you have, how many mechanics do you have working on this? Because this is a dedication. It's not like I could just do that with my current shop setup because I don't have builders. I don't have heavy line guys that can just crank. What additional commitment was that for you to be able to do this? You got guys that are only doing a specific engine 5 times a day?
That's a good question. I think number one, especially when you're home growing and buy here, pay here, a lot of times the shop comes last, right?
Yeah.
So in that being said, how you get to where you got is typically outsource vendors. So really honing in on those relationships. And as you grow and scale, it's like, oh man, you got 35 lifts here. You got 6.5 acres. We still have outsourced vendors.
Wow.
And we have vendors that even we have the space that we brought in on site to be able to help us. So, I have a guy who specializes in engine rebuilds.
Oh.
So, his name's Angel. Do we do a bunch of them? No. But when we pull an engine, if it just has low compression and it only needs the heads, we're going to do the heads.
Yeah.
If it needs a complete rebuild, we'll scrap it and we'll move on to the next. But I would say honing in on your vendors, making sure you're curating that relationship constantly. And then, the next step from that is having the same tech work on the same car.
And that lends us into like the economies of scale, right? When you talk about, okay, I've got guys that are specializing in this. Now they're beating the book consistently. So I'm becoming more efficient there. But also from a parts standpoint, when I can buy, 20 engine blocks at a time, I can get a deal. Or when I can buy 20, transmissions, or some of these guys, they'll cut you a deal when you're doing bulk, right?
Yeah. I think a common thing that buy here, pay here dealers forget is that they're not just in the finance business, they're in the car business, right? And part of the car business is a whole other world called the wholesale world, right? So a lot of times buy here, pay here dealers, they skip the wholesale part. They go straight into buying a depreciating asset at retail value, and then they expect it to have a high recovery rate down at the end. Where if you are actually in the car business, you buy it at wholesale price, you fix it, you make that wholesale margin, then you make your retail margin, then you make your APR, and that's how you make money.
Yeah, I like that. You're right, because we've been talking about margin compression here lately, and this is a way to get it back. And it's interesting that philosophy. So there's a whole nother ball of wax here that we hadn't talked about, and that's inventorying all this. Is there a software that you use, or is it just old fashioned writing it down every time one comes in? This is what I have.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, really, I'm not in the parts business.
Okay.
Meaning I have 6.5 acres. I have all these parts cars. So it depends on how deep you want to go. For us, we have engines inventoried in a spreadsheet.
Okay.
And it all comes into a CPI total loss chat. So when a car gets total loss or cosmetic manager memo, he goes ahead and takes pictures, puts it in the total loss chat. And then from there, I go ahead and I inventory that engine into my spreadsheet.
Okay.
And then Nick, he's here somewhere, but Nicholas Wheeler, he sits here on the back end, and he will take these parts and he will post them online for sale. So not only are we, scavenging our own parts for us, we're sitting here driving additional revenue. I think last month we did, just shy of $20,000 in part sales.
Wow.
Off stuff you would have just thrown away or sent to the scrapyard.
That's it.
And that's, you want to talk about collateral recovery rate or helping out your reinsurance company recovering that money, because you and I know if we send most of these cars to auction, they're going to bring between $500 and $1,000.
Yeah.
But there's so many good parts.
That's correct.
Correct. So, like you mentioned CPI here. So most of the cars we see here are probably CPI losses. Is that the case?
Yeah, it's about 95% of them CPI losses.
And how many CPI claims do you get in a month, do you think?
Oof, man, less than 20, but more than 5 for sure.
Yeah. So most of your CPI is total losses, or there's some CPI that you're having to fix?
Yeah, I'd say we total loss, 50% of them.
Okay.
Half we fix, half are total loss.
And so then you have parts where you can fix your CPI cars too.
That is correct.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of body work on those then? Are you looking mostly mechanical to build a value, or will you buy something that's completely wrecked or buy back a CPI that's lost the front end and rebuild it?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of times, so when we evaluate CPIs, it's based on what we have. So for example, if I have a 11 Sonata that's smashed from the front end, and I have an 11 Sonata that was smashed from the back end, I'm probably getting some super glue out. I'm going to build the car. Yeah, I'm going to build the car. And then also we look.
You have a certified body shop on site too.
Yeah, we do. We're CarStar certified. So, we're a collision insurance repair facility. It's been very helpful as well. But even then, it's like 75% of our cars don't go through CarStar. They go through our own in-house, which is just call it a mom and pop. Is 2 guys, a painter and a body guy, that are just hammering in there, doing fenders, bumpers, knocking it out and moving on.
We do want to make money on the reinsurance side as well. So having this to help when those CPI claims come in can drastically reduce the cost of your CPI, claim ratio.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a large investment though, and that's when my brain starts turning. That's like, when you look at all these moving parts that these guys have invested in making it work, parts guys and tracking and having the space and keeping the inventory, just even from a cash, even a scrap standpoint, you're keeping a lot of cash on hand here.
But if you're producing 20,000 a month selling parts,
yeah,
it adds up quick.
Yeah, that's great. But you got one guy doing it.
That's true.
So you guys have made the commitment, and that's really commendable. How do you keep from hoarding? Where's that line? When
you crush?
Hey, sorry to break in real quick, but make sure you guys know about Buckeye, longtime awesome sponsor of the podcast and who I use for all my reinsurance products.
I can't thank them enough for teaching me so much about reinsurance over the years and coming up with new products and new ways to get my portfolio secured. My customers have options on warranties and service contracts, gap. It's just been great, Jeff.
It's absolutely been a great way for me to build wealth, put away some money. So if you are a buy here, pay here, lease here, pay here, or retail dealer, it works for all dealers. You can set up a reinsurance company. You can insure your own. Stop giving money to those third-party providers that aren't going to cover your stuff anyways. Keep it in-house. Call the guys and girls over at Buckeye Risk Services and get set up ASAP.
So we are targeting buying a lot of 19 and 20s right now. So our parts inventory on them are not
there yet.
Exactly. So when we get a 19 model that needs a front end, I'm going to spend $2,000 on parts, just sourcing that front end. So I know, for example, this car we bought a week.
Look at this.
I bought a week and a half ago. This was out of Manheim, Dallas. And it was a complete car. It's not now. It was a complete car in up, 190,000 miles. And we bought it for $1,700 with fees. So we buy this car, we slap it onto the ticket of the car we're reconditioning.
That's interesting. Because I would have never thought of that. Instead of just piecing a part here and a part there, because that's probably what I would have done. I'd say, okay, well, we got this. We're going to charge $500 for the fender, $500 for the door. But you just say, you know what? We're just going to put the entire car on the recon ticket. I like that. It's simple.
And then you're in house money. So now this is a free car. Anything we sell off it, just free money.
And if y'all could see this, if you're watching on YouTube, they stole the front fender and the doors on this side and then put the other ones back on, which I kind of like that.
Yeah.
The car is here and you can see what you've already used.
That's right.
And honestly, those doors aren't that bad. If you had to use those at some point, you could, but you don't need them.
Yeah.
So when you bought it with a bad motor, how did you decide not to just get a motor for it?
That's a good question.
That'd be my problem. It's I bought it with a bad motor and I wanted all the body panels, but now when it shows up, I'm like, well, maybe I should just put a motor in this.
Yeah, so it was really clean, actually. It had the entire front end. This was a complete car.
Yeah.
And when it came in, we don't always just assume it's a bad motor. We get a technician out and we verify what is wrong with the motor.
Yeah.
Right? Because if it's just timing on these Hyundais and Kias, it's a $400 job. So for this car, being 190,000 miles, the book on it has really came down massively.
Yeah.
So you've taken that big book hit. So for me, yes, I could put $3,000 with a motor, the labor behind it and, getting it retail ready. So I can put $3,000 in a 190,000 mile unit, or I can sit here and I can just basically start fresh with a 60, 70, 80,000 mile 19 model. That's correct. That's correct.
Or was wrecked. Yeah.
The high mileage, I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not worth throwing. Have kind of a limit where you say, hey, if I get a CPI or a repo or a claim that's close to 200, that's just not sellable. Nobody wants it.
If we can fix it for under $1,000, I don't care if it has 220. If we put a new engine in it already and I can fix it for under $1,000, I'm gonna get $1,000 down on the car. So again, I'm playing with house money.
Let's talk about that. How do you know that, other than looking back at your tickets, that you put an engine in that car?
Yes, all the engines are stamped. So we do rebuild some. The ones that are rebuilt, they're stamped with the name Larry on it. And most of them we buy new, and the new ones have just a manufacturer date on the side.
Okay. And you know that, and you look at it and go, oh, well, we put this one in
2023, 2021, 2024, it says the date on it.
and it's good to go.
That's it. And then you can look at your original purchase, see how many miles it had, see how many miles it has now. Because it was a new engine. Some of our customers drive 100,000 miles in 2 years.
And don't do an oil change.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you had the new blocks come back with the same failure rate or close to?
No.
I've heard those rumors that.
Do we have issues? Yeah, of course we have issues. In terms of a new block, they come back because customer neglect is why they come back. If we put 100 engines in, are we going to have issues with 100? Maybe one. 1 to 2 from the jump. On those, just send them back to the manufacturer, get new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you have plenty of extra parts too.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, the interior of this is still spotless.
Yep.
So you could, instead of a heavy detail, or if you like someone, had a murder or had a baby in the back seat, you don't got to clean that up.
That's correct.
You just come over here, grab the back seat, toss it in,
keep it moving.
And then upholstery too, because you could get one in that's got a rip in, you just rip this seat out and put the new one in. I mean, that's
Well, I want to talk to, you're unique because of your location, right? This works really well because you have, I don't know, 100,000 cars for sale at any one time within a 100-mile radius for you.
Yeah.
Is that so key to this puzzle that you can just like, oh, I need a 2019 with a good front end. I can jump on and within a week or two, I can find one.
Yeah, I think what's more important than that is your lot size, right? I think the first thing you got to evaluate is how much space do I have myself? Because if you don't have all the space, then you're having to break them down as soon as they come in, and then you're having to shelve them, inventory them. It takes a lot more effort, a lot more organization to get that done. So, and then, the second thing in terms of having Mannheim, Dallas, America's Auto Auction, Metro, Alliance, Mannheim, Fort Worth, you have all these options.
Yeah.
Like you said, 100,000, cars within
and
a reach.
Houston right there too. Which
That's
is
right.
another-
San Antonio, Austin, you got all these options. So it does make it helpful. Absolutely. But I still don't think it should deter a buy here, pay here dealer from zooming in on 2 or 3 make and models, because your inventory is going to stack up. But even if you can't do the junk, you're still going to, you're
have efficiencies that no one
That's
what
correct.
you're working on.
That's correct. Having the techs work on the same cars over and over and over and over.
And in the South, where I am, there's plenty of land. Like you can go, we always talk about how cheap land is in Columbia, Carolina compared to Georgia, and St. George, Utah. It's, you can always go buy a little acre or 2 of land and stick cars on it if you wanted to do it.
And even a step further than that, if you have a good relationship with an auction in your area that you're buying a lot from and you're liquidating all your inventory from, like America's, at one point we had 40 cars sitting at lot 5 in America's and not selling them, just sitting, keeping them there. And, I have the inventory list. Yeah, of course. We're selling.
We're doing so much business with that.
That's correct. He's correct.
And so we forget about that with our vendors sometimes. Sometimes we can reach out and they'll ask them for something that they don't typically do, but they'll do it because we're doing so much of it.
Yeah, volume definitely helps. That's for sure.
For sure.
Hey guys, real quick to jump in and make sure you know about a new exciting sponsor here, a supporter of the podcast and a supporter of all independent activities, to be honest with you, Iteron GPS.
Iteron GPS, they have really, really great products. I've used them before. They're wonderful. They don't break if you install them right? All that good stuff. But like you said, a big sponsor of the industry with Buy Here, Pay Here United, and they're at every conference, Jeff. So make sure you're using the best possible GPS on the market, and that's Iteron.
Yep, give them a call. Go to our website for more information.
Mitch, so let's talk about someone like me. I'm a small dealer. I don't have a ton of space. What are you doing to like inventory high dollar things? Like if I identified my makes and models and I say, hey, yeah, I really am going to stick with these cars, but do you do stuff to like rip out the high value stuff quick and like not have it sit and rot, or like, what are you doing with those?
Identify common problems, right? So as we talked earlier, Hyundai and Kia, the transmissions are good. So why sit here and take up valuable space if I don't have it in a transmission? Where on a Hyundai and Kia, you got dual lock actuator problems like crazy. They're $130 online, and every single car, you got 4 of them. Take them out. That's small. You can put it on a shelf,
And you identify that they work before you take them out?
Yeah, if the vehicle's running and driving. But typically our CPIs come in and they weren't on the street lawn. So, we just...
Probably were working anyway.
That's right. We just reconditioned the car. So we're going to move with the expectation that it's ready to go.
Yeah.
And you pull those out and then you shell them in a storage like this, right?
Yeah, we can shelve them. For us, we have the space. So like we put all of our doors right there behind us. So all those doors are complete doors. So when we need a door, we'll just go grab it.
There,
grab a door that matches.
So is it the same color? Like, even that, right?
It usually is.
It usually is. They made about 4 colors in those Kias, and
yeah,
it does.
But you could rob like an actuator or a window motor out of those too
all day.
Yeah, and have them. But if I'm a smaller guy, I'm not stockpiling 50 doors. I might just decide, hey, I'm going to go to the scrapyard for my doors when I need them, but I'm going to keep these little actuators. I'm going to keep the ignition switches. I'm going to keep headlights, tail lights. Like that's really, I don't even think about headlights, tail lights, man. I send those out with my scrap part.
And you're talking about $100 to $150 sometimes for headlights. So
oh man, more. Halogen HIDs, we're spending $600.
Those, yeah, it's insane. We got a couple that are really.
So if you just have it sitting there, you go whoop, whoop, off you go.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about buying engines.
Yep.
You've got a stack of brand new engines sitting in there.
We do.
I mean, that's got to be convenient.
It is. It's nice having the space to be able to store engines, because when you buy in bulk, you can get that discount.
Get the discount. and the time saving. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you have to wait because if I could order this engine from Hyundai, it's going to probably take 5 days to get it.
Yep.
And then that's 5 days out of recon that I've just wasted.
That's right. And then it ties up a lift space for 5 days, or you're pushing it out, putting the rims and tires back on. It just becomes a headache. So for us, we monitor what we buy, monitor what we have in our inventory. Our rule of thumb is pull it before you grab a new one. So if we have one out there, spend the extra time, go and grab it out of a car. And then because if we went to the far bay, you'd see we got parts cars over there that are on lifts. We have open lifts that car comes in, we yank the engine, we'll leave it there for a couple days so we can start to do car pairing. So vehicle's on a lift, it's up, take everything. While it's there, we're always building Hyundais and Kias, start grabbing the parts you need.
The ones you already know you're going to need.
That's correct.
Wow, that's so interesting. You have one tech that is just for disassemble?
No. Our techs at this point, when they're building the car, our diag tech looks at the vehicle when they're originally diagnosing it, and they have our junk parts list. So if they see we have that junk parts, they'll put it on the ticket, grab from junk. So we won't even order that part. So now when it comes to the build tech and they're going to build the car, the build car goes in, they see grab from junk, they go out to junk, they identify the car, they grab the parts, and they come and build their car.
The same tech who's recon it.
That's correct.
How are you protecting the high dollar stuff from being sold off? Like that's kind of like when you talked about your guy who's posted them online, it seems like he starts I don't know how he's incentivized, but when he starts identifying like, dude, I know these are going to sell quick on eBay. Like I'm going to grab those the second they come in so that I can pad my stats and make it look good.
That's a good question. So we kind of found that in our cats. Over the years, catalytic converters, they did go off. Right? They disappear.
Oh, yeah.
And then we just did a cats run. So we did last 60 days, anytime. So when a vehicle, the shelf life is over. We've taken all the parts, it's done. We have a gentleman named Steven who comes, he picks up the car, and he gives us $200 for the car, plus he brings me back any doors and tires that I mark. So he'll get it to his lot. He'll go ahead and take off the doors, take off the tires, bring them back.
Wow.
And then he gives me $200. With that, when he picks up that car here, we cut off the cat immediately. So in 60 days, we did a cat run, I think on Monday of this week, and we got $5,069.
Yeah. Like, that's a big deal. Cats are super valuable. We kind of do sort of like that. If we identify a car that's going to be CBI tow or something, first thing we do is pull the battery, pull the cat. Sometimes the batteries decay, right?
Yeah.
It might have warranty. I just thought about that. Are y'all able to source a lot of tires from this type of situation?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, we got tires stacked up right there as well. But yeah, when vehicles go out, we like to leave the tires on the car until it's nearing the time to pull the engine. And then once we pull the engine, all right, just take everything off. So yeah, we'll take rims and tires. The same thing with the diag tech. Diag tech realizes we have a full set in junk. When they do the ticket, they'll say, hey, pull from junk.
Is there any way for you to kind of put a number on how much you're saving in recon a year by using your parts compared to going to AutoZone or wherever to get parts?
Yeah, so just on our average reconditioning cost of our repos and new units is dropped about $650 per par since we really started going crazy at this.
Let's call it $600 a car, and y'all are selling 80 cars a month?
Yeah, call it 80, call it 90, use an even number, 100 cars a month. Using that
$60,000.
So just on recycling your parts in your cars. And that's not even the cost savings on engines or on the front end, which is the wholesale side.
$700,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a big commitment that
it is
too, and I think
let's think about property real quick, because we thought about that earlier. If we could save $700,000 a year, we could buy a pretty decent piece of property and finance it over 10 years to actually build something like this to work.
Yeah. Having it adjacent, obviously, is so crucial. Or when you're right here, you walk down, you see what's there. I would think if it's across town, you're going to lose some of those efficiencies. But if you had the opportunity to grab a half acre next door, I mean, geez, that'd be a great way to go, man. Mitch, before we wrap up, I think it's a great segue, man. What's going on here? Give us your fanny pack, your man purse tips for the podcast.
Man, I've been rocking a fanny pack since 2013 when I entered the car business.
OG.
You put a lot of keys in a fanny pack.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, this is dressed up for me, believe it or not.
Okay.
I put on like my boots and suit today to hang out with y'all. So typically I'm a basketball shorts, and actually a lot of the team makes fun of me because they're usually pretty up here. They're little short shorts. So if you are a streetwear guy and you sit in a car, all your stuff falls
Everything falls out, man. I lost cell phones, keys. Oh man, I'm trying to figure out what car I got in. Oh man.
There you go. So for me, I keep chapstick at all times. I keep my keys, right? I keep an OBD scanner at all times as well, so I can scan, see what's going on with my cars.
Okay.
Floss sticks. If you walk around the property, you'll see floss sticks. And then I got nose strips.
Good stuffy out here. I get Texas DVL. Holy geez, that takes its own fanny pack.
Wallet with the passport.
In case you got to leave the country.
You never know. You never know, dude. I'm ready to leave at all times.
I've never met a gentleman that carries his passport with him 24/7.
I love it, man.
Awesome.
That's because my ID's expired.
And stacks of cash. Stacks of cash, man. At any time he finds a key on the side of the road, he's gonna make a cash offer. Take it with him.
That's it.
I love it.
That's it.
Man, thanks for
It's been fun.
today.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so much fun, y'all. Appreciate it.